I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Paid in Puke, a podcast where three women with names discuss movies that are about something other than a man. Paid in Puke is hosted by Amy Green, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. It's also a spoiler-filled free-for-all. You've been warned. On today's episode of Paid in Puke, no one will laugh at you for joining us to examine Brian De Palma's iconic 1976 horror film, Carrie, based on the novel by Stephen King. Also today on Paid in Puke, it's an episode-long segment of Keggers with Kids, as we're joined by 12-year-old Lucy Green.
You blow it tonight, girl, and it's Keggers with Kids all next year.
It's the night of the senior prom. The Bates High School gym is alive with excitement. Everybody is there, even Carrie White. The girl no one likes.
We're all sorry about this incident, Cassie.
It's Carrie!
And everyone makes fun of her. The girl who lives in that creepy house with her crazy mother.
Help the sinning woman see the sin of her days and ways. Show her that if she had remained sinless, the curse of blood would never have come on her.
The girl with the strange power.
If I concentrate hard enough, I can move things.
But tonight, no one will laugh at Carrie.
If you don't have a date for the prom next Friday, would you like to go with me?
She's with the best-looking boy in the senior class.
He's trying to trick me again.
She'll be voted queen of the prom.
You know, I can make sure that you don't hurt Carrie White anymore.
For Carrie, it will be a dream come true. For everyone else, it will be a nightmare. Carrie. A new film by Brian De Palma. Based on the chilling bestseller. Starring Sissy Spacek, Piper Laurie, and introducing John Travolta in his first motion picture role. If you have a taste for terror, you have a date with Carrie.
Well, how do we start talking about Carrie? That's a hard one.
Carrie's one of my favorite movies, and I watched it a bazillion times, like growing up, way younger than Lucy. I finally let Lucy watch it. She's 12 and a half.
We have Lucy here.
Well, I don't know. Carrie was really good. I'd say, like, by far the scariest scene for me was when she was walking up the stairs and there were candles everywhere, and, like, you knew the mom was somewhere and you knew something scary was going to happen, but you couldn't quite tell what, and it was, like, after the really intense scene, and it was, like, yeah, there was a lot of suspense, and that was probably, like, by far the scariest for me.
Yeah, especially when you could see her behind the door.
Oh, that was terrifying.
That was. Yeah. Oh, that mom is so crazy. This, like, definitely the first time I've watched it after having kids, I think. Not the first time as an adult, but I'm like, wow, this movie is really sad. It rang much sadder to me as an adult and as a parent, especially when she took a bath at the end. I thought that was so sad when she just got home from the terrible prom. I mean, it was just so sad.
She hugged the mom, though.
I know, and she just wanted her mom after all that. She just comes home like, they did laugh at me. God, that is heartbreaking. And the very beginning, too. That's crazy to me. Imagine getting your period and you did not know what that was. I know that's a thing, that there are people who don't tell their daughters to expect something like that, and can you just imagine how scary that would be, that you're all of a sudden bleeding from your vagina and you don't know that that's a normal thing. It was not very realistic.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to say, how true is it, because was it really up to parents back then to tell their kids? When did they start doing it in school is what I wanted to know, because if you were a kid who went to public school, from my time, the early 80s at least, by then, there was mandatory sex education. You were all ushered into a room, and 5th grade, I think it was, for us.
Did they split up the boys?
They split up the boys and girls, yeah. And then afterwards, everyone was like, what are they telling you?
I feel like that was a pretty new thing.
Was it new?
When I was in 6th grade, 1984.
Okay, yeah.
It seemed like they would have heard something about it, especially by high school, at least from other girls. Why do you have all these pads? What is that for?
Right. I mean, it's believable because Carrie is such an outcast anyway.
Yeah, I guess that's the implication, is that they must not have had in school sex education. And then she's had no friends to talk to. I mean, she must have had no friends at all.
Right. And I think even if they did, there's always the option for parents to opt out, I think.
That's true. They can, religious reasons. Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if Carrie would have been homeschooled, in this, if it were present day. Her mother struck me as somebody that, I don't trust the government to teach my kid.
What would she be teaching? I mean, she wouldn't get any education at all. She would just be reading the Bible all day long.
It's truly terrifying.
Yeah, her mom is very scary.
She was. And I don't get even how the mom thinks all sex is bad even if you're married.
She basically is just a straight up biblical misogynist. Eve was the first sinner, and it's all Eve's fault, and women are just inherently evil. I mean, she's just internalized biblical misogyny to a terrifying degree.
Yeah.
There aren't even Bible thumpers saying it's okay to have sex when you're married.
Not only is it okay, but it's your duty to...
She said, I should have, sacrificed you. She had an abortion, but sacrificial, and after you gave birth?
There's definitely confusing things like that in the Bible, where God's like, well, you should kill your kids if I tell you to. The Bible is very conflicting, and there's all kinds of horrible things in there. So if she, follows the Bible to the letter, who knows what kind of person that creates,
I mean, because you really can't, because there's so much contradictory stuff.
Yeah.
And I think she's supposed to also just be kind of crazy. Oh, it's weird how she focuses on the smells of things. The boys smell the blood.
The boys, yes, the boys. After the blood come the boys, like sniffing dogs, grinning and slobbering and trying to find out where that smell comes from. Where the smell is, that smell.
Or the whiskey smell on her husband's breath.
Maybe she has some super smell powers.
Yeah.
Everything, her smell senses are so heightened that it's driven her insane.
You could see in the book that the telekinesis Carrie had, it said that it was genetic, which means that, throughout her family, someone may have also had that, and I wonder if there's some story there, because that's kind of interesting.
I was going to ask if anyone had read the book. So you've read the book, Lucy?
I have, no, not the book. The book she
the book
gets.
That Carrie's
oh, the book oh, wow.
I noticed that it said that it was genetic, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
That is very interesting. Good eagle eye. I actually was wondering about the backstory, if there's more backstory in the book. Because for some reason there was some inkling that I had that her mom slept with a demon or something, but then I was I'm probably just getting it confused with Rosemary's Baby or any one of a million movies. And I know that there's also a Stephen King thing too, where he kind of connects his worlds together. What did she have sex with the guy from The Stand or something like that?
Right, yeah.
I meant to research that, but I didn't. I know you mentioned off mic about old-timey Googling library situation. She does so much work just to find the definition of one word.
I know. I'm watching it with Lucy. That was one of the first things we had to explain is what a card was.
What's going on here?
That's how you used to have to look things up.
Yeah.
One thing that felt crazy to me was if you burned this whole file, that's all there was, and now it's gone.
Yeah, she looks it up in the card catalog, and then she has to find the corresponding book. It's just such a very long scene of her doing that they would now in a movie today would take care of in one 20-second Google.
If it wasn't a movie today, for the drama of the scene would be she Googled it, and then she gets down this whole trap of what's this crazy thing that happened to someone with telekinesis? Wait, what's this? I feel that would have been if it was a modern day character.
Yeah.
She
The internet K-hole, or what is it? Is that what it's called? 10 hours later, what am I even looking at anymore? I forget what I started Googling.
Am I the asshole for using my telekinesis?
Yeah.
I hadn't watched it for a long time. I remembered the gym teacher as being like a really nice person, but then like
teachers are very bad.
Like she just really had no one.
She slaps. Oh my god, she's so violent and so mean, and she tells that one girl that she hopes she chokes to death on her gum.
Oh my god, yeah.
She would have been fired so many times over. She would never have worked with children again. I mean, it's crazy. But then everybody, the principal too.
Yeah, her name right, my god.
Oh my god, it was like, it's not that hard of a name.
And then also the awful English teacher with Tommy's poem, and nobody says anything, and then Carrie says it's beautiful, and the teacher totally mocks her.
Yeah.
It was like the whole town. Like Carrie was just like this joke, and like crazy. Yeah, they were just so mean to her. There was like sort of a redeeming moment, like when they're at the prom and the teacher comes and talks to her a little bit.
Too little, too late there.
I don't know why I sort of remembered that woman as like a nice adult figure.
She's like the person who like is nice to Carrie, and she's like the person who like actually got mad at them for being mean to her. Right. But it's like, yeah, but she's also kind of crazy too.
So that's probably the nicest adult in the movie.
Yeah. She slaps Carrie, and then later she's like, I get it. I wanted to shake her too, but we just can't go around doing that, but we can slap them.
Right. How many times in a movie someone slaps someone to make them calm down?
Now relax, calm down. Listen to me.
I know. That was definitely a trope that you don't see anymore, but it was for, I mean, I know, and to have a woman do it too. Traditionally, it's a man being like, oh, you hysterical woman. I know. How does that make someone calm down? I've got slapped a couple times by my mom, and it just drove me into a blind rage. I mean, it makes you more angry and more irrational, I think. My mom experimented with various ways to deal with me, and that one did not work.
Yeah, I'm glad the slapping didn't take.
Yeah, well, I slapped her back like the second time she did it, and she was like, okay, let's not do this anymore. I mean, she got like full on beaten when she was a kid, so I wonder how much of that in movies was from real life. People really like just beating the crap out of each other all the time.
Chris, like the mean girl, John Travolta.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god,
he was crazy. He was like slapping her around all the time too.
I know what you like about me. Here, don't you touch me.
No! Darn shit!
I thought I told you never to call me that. You know, you are totally fucked up. That's it. You really are, I know that. I'm convinced.
Like, I didn't remember that part. I guess I just didn't seem odd to me when I watched it as a kid.
Or it's just one of those things that you gloss over. Because I was telling Amy off mic, actually. I think I watched Carrie before I'd ever been in a car with somebody to make out with them. You know, so I thought, I don't know how old I was when I first saw this movie, but...
when he's like, you're crazy, I really think that. I'm like, how did you know? She's being so stupid.
Yeah.
She's totally coming on to him, and then, you stupid chick, get off me.
Just thought of Kate Capshaw and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. You didn't see that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? That whole scene, that was another like pre-romance thing that sort of shaped my idea of grown-up romance, where she's just slapping him, and then they're kissing, and then they're just like mad at each other. And
the Temple of Doom?
That's the one where they're in India.
The heart thing.
Yeah.
Is that like
reaching into the
is that
guy's
the
heart?
last one or like?
It's the middle one.
Oh,
well, it's the second one. I don't know.
That was a weird cat.
We'll pretend that the fourth one never happened. It's the middle one, but it's the second one.
Yes, I did see that one. That one.
And she's just kind of a hysterical woman trope in that movie. She's just constantly screaming and fainting, and that's very upsetting. But then their whole romance is also very confusing for kids who've never been in a relationship. You're like, is this?
She was like the worst one and the weirdest one.
She was directed to behave that way. She was written that way. Everyone was like, Kate Capshaw, what a shrew. But I'm pretty sure that wasn't her idea. That's how romance was depicted at that time. When you're having a volatile relationship, you just slap each other and then kiss and then slap and then kiss.
It's all just
what?
passion.
What do we do with that?
Also, that scene when they went to get the pig's blood was just a really strange scene.
Very strange. I'd forgotten that they murder the pigs themselves.
It's just the idea that would be like a hilarious prank. It seemed like they thought it would be hilarious, and it clearly like the whole prom was like laughing. The logistics of you went and slaughtered a pig and drained its
and then, like,
blood,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
they went
funny.
to a lot of it.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know how much of the whole prom was actually laughing, because I think that some of that was in her head, because the teacher, they show the gym teacher not laughing, and then they show Carrie's point of view, and she is laughing. So I think she kind of, but some people were laughing.
It's only really the mean girl. Like, J Souls is definitely laughing, the normal with the like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Shut up. Hot Probs is on.
Oh shit, yeah. It was weird, especially how no one noticed this thing. And then after it fell, how they both just stood there, and then the guy got like hit in the head with it. It's like, dude, that was swinging for so long.
Yeah.
Yes, that scene is really, really drawn out. Like how long she waits to pull the rope. That's a very satisfying moment when she makes their car roll over like that.
Although I wondered about that too. That's a hot prop for me, because it's on fire before it swerves. It's a weird order for things to happen. And why is it on fire? Her powers, I don't understand completely.
She kind of ends up firepower.
Yeah. Somehow she can make things explode. I know the house burns down because it's full of candles, but she's also able to make like electrical things short.
In the very beginning,
that was
I thought it was so weird how no one acknowledged, like, oh yeah, the ashtray just shorted with, oh yeah, the light bulb just exploded.
I mean, I think the thing like with the ashtray and the light bulb, I think sometimes with the movie that has a supernatural element, you're supposed to just accept like this is the universe where this supernatural exists. I forget what it's called. Like there's the 3 styles or 3 supernatural things where it's like one is mundane fantastic. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Like magical realism is one, mundane fantastic, or urban fantasy. And the differences are mundane fantastic is the Muppets. There's all these creatures that just live and everybody acts like that's a thing. So I don't know. I just think you're just supposed to sort of accept, oh, this is a world where there's things happen in the supernatural.
When the mirror shatters, that was like just cool, especially when the mom walked in. I thought what was gonna happen is like the mom realized the mirror shattered and she gets really mad, but like the mom didn't even notice the mirror.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, she didn't seem to notice it, but she heard something. I know, that's really funny. She came in, she's like, oh, everything looks fine. Does it though? Maybe she was in a little bit of denial for a while. Just maybe the slightest bit, because she seemed like she was always looking for a reason to get mad at Carrie. Which that part's very real to me, because my mom seemed to be always looking for a reason to be mad at me. She was also very religious, not to the degree that her mom is, but like that part where she's having her recite Bible verses and be like, repeat this part over and over again. Like that part was very real to me.
Yeah, that was so hard to see her getting like pushed into the closet.
Yeah.
And, like just.
I did not have to go to a closet, but I did have to go to my room, and then I would have to say the rosary as punishment, with my mom being very mad and saying it with me. That really resonated with me.
The whole interactions between Carrie's mom and then, don't remember her name, but the person who was nice, their mom.
Sue's mom?
Yeah.
Snell, Mrs. Snell.
Mrs. Snell, I think, also has one of the strangest lines in the movie, is at the end when she's talking on the phone.
Well, he said that she's young enough so that she'll forget all about it in time.
That's one of my hot props.
Yeah, mine too.
Because I was like, what?
I forgot about the time at the prom when everybody at my high school died.
It's like people who have a normal prom remember.
Yeah, if she forgets it, it's because she's repressing it, and it's a problem, and it's something she hasn't dealt with, and she's waking up screaming. I know, what is that line?
So bizarre.
Yeah.
Doctors in movies in the 70s were the worst.
Oh, and then she didn't let Sue go to the funerals, and that was another thing too that I was like.
It's like you're like the only person who survived this event.
Does she not even get to go to Tommy's
funeral?
funeral?
Like it didn't happen if you don't go to the funeral.
I mean, that part is somewhat believable. I believe that someone would do that, not that they could go to a funeral. That seems more a product of the 70s.
Mental health in the 70s was like, let's pretend that didn't happen.
Right. Not like, let's process.
Yes.
Or anything.
You take any amount of drugs and brain surgery necessary to forget this traumatic thing that happened to you.
Yeah. She might get a lobotomy.
Yeah.
Just a little lithium.
Yeah.
She seemed like fairly authentically like a kind person. I mean, the kindest one in the movie.
She was relatively kind, for sure, yeah.
And it's almost like, yeah, her life is going to be...
She'll forget all about it.
Yeah.
She's young enough that she'll forget about it in time.
She's too
I know. Yeah. Pretty sure we form lasting memories by 4.
Like, imagine.
She'll forget all about
30
it.
years later, and the mom's telling her, do you know when you were in high school? Like, what happened at the prom? What? No.
I forgot all about that.
It's like, people were like, everybody in your school died at the prom.
Including your boyfriend.
It's like before anything actually happens at the prom, people are like, this is the night you're always going to remember. After everyone dies, now you'll forget all of it.
People remember their prom anyway.
That is like a night to remember. That's the whole thing about the prom.
And then it's like, you'll remember your prom. Oh, unless everyone dies.
No, that's just such a weird line. They just didn't have to have it in there. I don't know why it was
so strange.
Themes to proms are so like, I remember our prom was at like a retirement community, but like a rec area. The theme was like a night in Paris, and it was like,
oh man,
they tried to make it look like Paris in this like rec room. It was kind of funny, like just like the street lamps and the Eiffel Tower. It was cute, but it was also like a little cheesy at the same time. I remember there was like a prom committee, and some guy really wanted it to be Mortal Kombat. It was like, it was like a really popular game.
I love that. I might have gone to the prom. That's hilarious. With a little bat. Bats everywhere, dressed in martial arts outfits. That would have been very cute. You'll never guess, but I didn't go to the prom.
Yeah, I also didn't go to the prom.
Yeah. Goth kids don't want to go to the prom, and no one wants goth kids to go to the prom, and it works out for everybody if we don't go.
We're all on the same page.
0 regrets about that.
Yeah.
I doubt that the mean kids at my school would have had the commitment to do something like that, though. That was so much planning. I don't think those kids planned anything as well in their whole lives as they did that last thing that they ever did.
Yeah.
What a great gag.
That'll be so funny.
It could have been anything, too. Why did it have to be the blood of a freshly killed pig?
Yeah, I know. That is a weird detail. Could have been pudding or anything. Like, literally anything that's... Even water. Chili,
like, I mean...
Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Literally pig blood.
Yeah.
An interesting choice.
Like, not even like fake blood. And also, it feels so unlikely that the blood would actually land on her. Like, it's like, this probably wouldn't actually...
Yeah, it landed square on her. It was, like, perfectly lined up. How do these idiots... He got a little bit, but yeah. How did these idiots get such perfect engineering for this prank?
She would be in the exact spot.
I felt for Sue, she saw it, the slow motion
scene
part
with
of like
Sue,
she knows
like,
something bad is going to happen, and she's trying to tell the gym teacher.
Again, the gym teacher.
And again, the gym teacher pushes her out of the gym.
You look back at the teams like, oh, thank goodness she got kicked out, because otherwise she would have died. But if she didn't get kicked out, she could have stopped it. So
oh, that's true. Yeah, watching the bucket just shake, and it was just like, oh,
the
no,
bucket
this is
shook
I
for a
know
long
what's
time.
coming.
That whole school was just really strange. Like when Carrie didn't have to go to PE for a while, even though it didn't feel like it made sense that she didn't have to go to PE when her real issue was that she got bullied by the classmates. It made sense, but it also kind of didn't. But also how she didn't have to go to PE, but then there was no one really making her go to whatever she was supposed to go, and she just kind of walked around.
Yeah, I think they said you have like study hall or something instead of PE. She goes to PE anyway and stands outside the window.
I kind of feel like that's a thing. I don't know if it's still a thing, but that you can get out of PE for having your period when you're...
Oh, really?
I mean, I feel like that was definitely a thing.
Yeah. I remember, what was the movie? I think it was Legally Blonde, where she was like, sorry I like failed this thing, I was on my period. I don't know, what was it?
Clueless.
Yeah,
she says for being
Clueless.
late.
I was writing The Crimson Wave.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it can be very debilitating for people.
I mean, I feel like it was more that adults were so, especially if it's a male gym teacher, were so uncomfortable with the whole topic. Like, I have a period, I can't go.
Yeah.
All right, go. Like,
just don't talk about it anymore. Just get out of here with your smelly vagina.
I was wondering what that smelled.
There was another hot driving prop where when they're obvious green screen driving, you hear a swerving sound, and then after you hear the sound, John Travolta lightly turns the wheel a little bit and is like, oh shit. The absolute worst driving acting I've ever seen. It's so terrible. It just really stands out because the rest of the movie is, I mean, there's definitely like a camp element to all Brian De Palma, but that's just very, what is going on here? Why didn't you just take that again? When Chris is going down on Billy, she obviously overdubs saying Billy because her mouth is not full at all. She's just very clearly saying, oh, Billy, I hate Carrie.
Billy. 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 I hate Carrie White.
Yeah. But he's acting like it's happening. This is not good overdubbing.
She's talking a lot for... She's speaking very clearly.
Very clearly. Yeah. And then Billy does a pretty racist voice when he's filling the blood bucket.
We's doing the best we can. We really are, boss.
Those are all my props, though.
It's not a realistic portrayal of a first period. With
right.
Gushing red blood.
Yeah. That's true. That's a lot of blood. Oh, also, it's so expensive to throw.
I know.
Just for a joke, really? You're going to throw that many tampons at her? And that they all had so many on hand?
Like, in a middle school bathroom, it is like, oh yeah, there's pads on the shelf, and then pads right there, and there's tampons there, yeah. Literally.
Oh, really?
But, yeah,
okay.
I don't think in a locker room, it's like their lockers are just filled.
Yeah.
Right.
They did have them just right within reach.
It's not really a hot prop, but I really like Amy Irving in this movie. I mean, we said that she didn't have a bigger career. I feel like she has this real haunting look to her.
Yeah, she is really good. I looked her up because I thought she was so good, and I was surprised to see that she really wasn't in much else that I'd seen.
Well, I think the thing with her is she was married to Steven Spielberg, and then at the time that they split up, it was like at the time the biggest settlement anyone ever got in a divorce or something crazy like that. So one, she doesn't need to work, but then also I think it was a little bit, it was ugly, and people kind of had to... If you had to side with someone, they were going to side with the powerful producer, director, and not the sort of B-list actor.
So she probably got a little bit blacklisted because of it.
I think so, yeah. I think it was kind of twofold. Like, she had enough money, she didn't need to work again, and then also it was just too hard to work because nobody... wanted to risk.
That's always the story, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, when is the last time we've mentioned any actress and said, I wonder what happened to her, and then...
and it's not like some terrible, like...
it was, exactly. She was punished for being a woman. Right. Oh, I should have guessed. What a twist.
That's why it's interesting to me, like, how some women manage to shake the home record tag. Like, Angelina Jolie has never been able to shake that, whereas someone like Kate Capshaw, like... There's someone else that's a big one. I can't think of it, but Rita Wilson. Tom Hanks left his first nobody wife for Rita Wilson, and it's like, that's fine.
Everyone embraced her. Yeah. I feel like that is fun because obviously he's been with her for so long. It wasn't like a.
I think it's fine too. I guess it's more on behalf of Angelina Jolie. Like,
sure. Yeah.
Why wasn't it fine? I don't know. I mean, like then they had 6 kids together. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was one of those where the gossip sites really had it right. Like, when Brad and Jen were still together, it was like, oh, Brad really wants to have kids.
Yeah.
She really just wants a career. And then they split up and he had 6 kids or someone. So, okay.
Yeah.
You know, let him go. Like, they wanted different things. Why is it... I don't know.
Yeah.
Or also, why is it on her? Why is it on...
Exactly. I mean, I don't really believe that, like, homewrecker is a... thing. Like, if anyone's wrecking the home, it's the person who's cheating on their significant other.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't wreck a happy home.
Yeah, exactly. But I do always feel for Laura Dern, of course. She Billy Bob. She did it with Billy Bob and Laura Dern. On the other hand, Laura Dern is probably way better off. Because gross. What was that?
I love her quote about that, how she's like, I was doing a movie, and while I was gone, my boyfriend got married, and I never heard from him again.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, so messed up. But yeah, I definitely blame Billy Bob in that situation.
Right.
Angelina Jolie just fell in love with Billy Bob for whatever reason. Why, I don't know.
Exactly. That movie was terrible. I think it was Pushing 10 with him and John Cusack.
Yeah.
It was just a bad movie. That's all I knew about that. I didn't know Laura Dern was involved.
They were together for a long time. I think they were engaged.
I think so.
Yeah. So if anything, Angelina Jolie did her a favor. Dodged a bullet on that one. Ugh, he's just so unappealing. I don't get it. Why do so many beautiful women, what is it about him?
Right, maybe he was the Pete Davidson.
I know. Even Pete Davidson is so much more charming to me than Billy Bob Thornton. Ugh, he just he looks like he would be clammy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like he would just be unpleasant to touch. Yeah. And I'm all about a musky man, but it's not musk that I get from him. I get a moldy mildew is what is coming off of Billy Bob when I look at him. But I don't know. If I ever meet Laura Dern, I'm gonna be like, what is it about him? I must know. Yeah. What's the tea on Billy Bob?
She would spill it, I bet.
Yeah. I've got a lot of things to ask Laura Dern. How much time do you have, lady? I didn't want to just mention the song that the band is playing in the gym.
As I look back upon my younger days, I really was a maniac. Blowing up a John with a cherry bomb, give a janitor a cognac. When the teachers would say they should lock him away and throw away all of the keys. Please, he's out of control. The devil's got a hold of his soul. Oh.
Is that a real song?
I don't think so.
The lyrics are hilarious. It's like teenage rapscallions. Isn't it crazy how we set off bombs in the toilet? And isn't it great being a teenager?
Also, it felt very unrealistic that they just went also last minute, I want to be in the prom committee. Oh, and I don't care about it at all. But, I need to be in charge of making sure who wins. It's like, you're definitely not rigging this.
Specific thing.
They wouldn't just let someone do that. They're like, no, you're going to rig who wins.
Oh, that kid was so entitled too. Because I remember he's telling the teacher's like, okay, well, I'm gonna need you to be here at 6.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And the kid's like, well, I'll be there at 8.
Right.
Yeah.
Also,
okay.
Why would you have to get there 2 hours early to collect ballots from it? Yeah.
Right.
I was kind of on his side just on that one.
Yeah.
I kind of got the vibe of those popular kids, how in small towns, the popular kids and their parents are kind of running the town almost.
Yeah.
I got the vibe that that's what that group was, and the way he's telling the teacher oh, I'm gonna be there later.
Yeah.
John Travolta's drinking beers and driving his car and
just
it's no big deal. There's a cop right there. It just seems like they're kids that can get away with anything somehow. That seemed very real to me.
It also seemed pretty unrealistic that so many people snuck into prom when they weren't allowed to. It just felt very weird. How the people...
I don't know how high the security is at prom.
I don't know. Just the way they snuck in, didn't feel very realistic. Especially getting how they got under the stage. No one saw her just peeking out under the...
Oh yeah, the shot of Chris and she's licking her lips. She's getting ready to do it. And it's wow, she's really into this. Mm-hmm. In a very sick way.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy plan that she was very committed to.
Yeah.
And I guess Billy was committed too.
It's kind of funny when she stabs her mom with a potato peeler.
I know, I like that it's all weird.
It's
kitchen implements.
Potato peeler.
Some of the knives are really flimsy or
Well, they're prop knives.
Or something.
Prop knives are generally rubber. The practical effects aren't completely on point, but it fits with the tone of the movie, I think.
Next call.
Seeing the mom in Halloween costume. That was a very good Halloween costume.
It's very easy to do Carrie as a Halloween costume. Yeah, I kind of look like her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That is kind of your thing, is just to always be a redhead of some kind. I mean, Mandy probably is a natural redhead, though, let's be honest. Yeah.
You also really nailed the dress for that costume.
I just bought a pink slip at Valley Village, so it was a pretty easy one.
Well, what did you use for blood?
She just used fake blood.
Yeah, some fake blood that Lucy had. Yeah, it felt fine.
Because movie blood is terrible and uncomfortable. And actually, Carrie, Sissy Spacek was so committed to the continuity of that she slept in the blood.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is so hardcore because movie blood is really sticky and awful.
Yeah, isn't it like syrup, basically?
I think it definitely back then it was.
Yeah.
Did they use chocolate syrup?
They used chocolate syrup in black and white movies. They used Karo syrup in color movies. The blood in Psycho is chocolate syrup.
I forgot that Edie McClurg was in it. Mrs. Poole from Gallery.
Oh, wow. That's right.
I always remember she's in that movie because one time I was watching that movie, late teens, with a bunch of my friends, my guy friends in Jersey. And there were two people. I remember the names, Matt Regala and Steve Cafaro. We're having an argument. Like, every time they show her, one of them like, that's Mrs. Poole. And the other was like, that's not Mrs. Poole. But the whole time we're watching it, every time she's on screen, that's Mrs. Poole. That is not Mrs. Poole. It was Mrs. Poole.
That is not a problem we would have anymore, is it?
Right, we had to wait to the credits and then see if the name sounded familiar.
Yeah, and then wait for Valerie to come on and cross-check.
Right.
It took a lot longer to do things back then.
The girl with the red hat, she was just always... I don't know.
She's such a bitch.
She was.
I didn't make a lot of notes because it's really dark when we're watching, but I did write down PJ Soul's bitch.
Yeah, she's Norma.
She's like the bully sidekick. Like in a lot of those movies with the mean girl, there's the other mean girl that's sort of like the mean girl.
Just kind of like laughs along with her.
Yeah.
Heather, why can't you just be a friend? Why are you such a mega bitch?
And she just always had that red hat in the scenes, and I'm like, yeah, that's that girl. That girl.
That one crazy scene where the dude, that was just kind of funny with the beer, and it's like, he kept saying, it's like, oh, but also it was like, really? That scene itself was so crazy, though.
In the car?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that scene is so crazy, and then in the end, when she starts going down on him and says, I hate Carrie White, like, why does she hate Carrie so much?
Yeah.
What did Carrie
It's not
ever
like she
do?
did something to you.
She really
like,
did not.
really hates this person, but why? Because she's an outcast and you bully her? But why do you hate her?
Even the opening scene, it's so poignant. What are they playing volleyball in the gym?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Carrie messes up and Chris, right?
Yeah.
And she yells at her, eat shit, you know, and then they show Carrie just showering off, like, she looks so placid and calm and happy, you know, like, she just kind of rolls off her back, like, you know, it's just so...
It's just another day in gym class.
Right. I mean, she looks like kind of has this very serene look on her face.
Yeah, that's a classic Brian De Palma shower scene. I don't know if you've ever seen Dressed to Kill.
No.
But that's kind of a signature Brian De Palma. Women just really getting into it in the shower with the soft music right before something really traumatic happens.
I don't know how many Brian De Palma movies I've seen.
He's got so many movies. I really love his crazy stuff. Yeah, well, that's the best one. I think. For my money, that's my favorite Brian De Palma movie. Phantom of the Paradise.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh,
I kind of remember that movie.
It's also incredibly bonkers. Musical written by Paul Williams, who's the guy who wrote The Muppets. He wrote a lot of stuff, but
And Bugsy Malone.
Yeah.
Of all time.
And it's based on Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
It is worth watching.
I could lend it to you. I own it.
Did Brian De Palma also do Blowout?
Yes. And that was after, yeah.
But that's with
Nancy
Josh
Allen.
Nancy Allen.
That's right. He was such a baby. He was a little teeny baby. It was his first movie role. And he was 22. Nancy Allen, who played Chris, was 26. Nancy Allen was also in Dressed to Kill. So you should see Dressed to Kill. It's pretty bonkers.
All right,
It's crazy. It's definitely one of his more bonkers movies. And it starts with a shower scene. I looked up everyone's ages because
how old was Amy Irving?
Everyone seems the same age. 23. And William Catt was 25. That's Tommy Ross. And
I know who William Catt is.
Well, I don't know if our listeners know, though.
I just want to say for the record that I know who William Catt is.
I'm assuming we have listeners, and they might not all know who William Catt is. He was so cute. I didn't look her up. She's eternally 35, 35, 40.
Maybe she has a Laura Dern.
She definitely has Laura Dern disease.
She does have the exact Mrs. Poole face.
Yeah. And Piper Laurie was 44.
Yikes. stay unhappy.
Well, you dress younger. Her outfits aren't doing her any favors, her flowy caftan. And Sissy Spacek was the oldest of the teenagers at 27.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
27 in that movie.
And she kind of looks the youngest.
Yeah, she totally looks young. Wow. So coal miner's daughter, she did that after Carrie?
Yeah,
or
I think that was like early 80s. So.
Oh, she looked really young in that one.
Badlands
too.
was probably before Carrie.
I know they remade Carrie with Julianne Moore as the mom and Chloe Grace Moretz.
I did watch that.
Carrie. I kind of want to see it, but kind of don't at the same time because I don't think it could be as good.
It was not very good. Okay. I only watched it because it was Chloe Grace Moretz, who's a pretty good young actress.
Yeah.
And she was fine, but it just didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
It was not necessary. And what's so great about this movie is the Brian De Palma direction. He's an interesting filmmaker. I don't always love his movies, but I always appreciate what he's trying to do with them. He's got that 1-2 shot in the classroom with Tommy in the front and Carrie in the back. It's just a really interesting way to shoot a scene, Like normally you'd have the camera further back, but this one you can see both of them, but it's also really close up and you can see their faces and you can still see the classroom dynamic of her being behind him in the classroom.
That was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, he does. And then he always has that split screen. He always does split screen.
That scene in the classroom and the teacher is being an asshole.
The teacher was like...
And then Billy's like, you suck. And then the teacher's like, what'd you say? And he's like...
Said, oh, shucks.
Yeah.
Whenever Carrie, did something kind of crazy, they had, it felt like a very, common horror movie sound effect.
I love that.
Like the shrieking in the
Yes.
eye.
He admitted that he stole that from Psycho. He's just like, it was the perfect sound for what I needed. He's like, I know I was stealing it and everyone's gonna notice, but it's what I wanted, so I did it.
The scene where the guys are shopping for tuxedos. I saw this movie on TV a bunch before I ever watched it. Not on TV, I guess, not edited for television. I always thought that was like a weird little glitch. And when it speeds up how they're talking, like...
How do you know? Did you ever put on a tuxedo?
I don't have a tuxedo body.
Ruffles, so you always gotta make a joke, right? No, I just don't like ruffles.
I thought it was just like a weird mistake or something. Oh no, that was an intentional thing. It's such an odd little...
It is. That's what I mean. I don't know what he's going for exactly with that, but I like that he was trying something.
Yeah, it was an odd moment of levity. Prom excitement montage.
I like that too, that it's the guys getting ready, because it's always the opposite.
The girl getting ready.
Yeah, it is nice. The guys deciding how they want to dress for it. Or also, one guy say, I don't have a body for that.
Yeah, right.
I don't have a tuxedo body.
What does that even mean? Everybody does.
Right, but you wouldn't think twice if a woman said that about anything at all. I don't have the body for pajamas,
Bikini body, yeah, exactly. I don't know how the movie would change if it were directed by a woman, but I do like Brian De Palma's shtick.
It's also a good question. Is this a feminist movie?
Yeah.
What does this movie say about womanhood? It's hard to know, what exactly is this movie? What's the message of this movie, or what is it trying to say? But I think you can definitely see it as it's about society's fear of female sexuality, or the power of female sexuality, or just the power of womanhood. I mean, it's so interesting.
Not just womanhood, but being othered, being an outcast. Why did everyone hate her so much?
Right. Yeah.
She had such a shitty upbringing, but she was perfectly nice. Yeah. She never bothered anyone, and there was
a... knew about how crazy her mom was. The teacher was
and there was
surprise me with her mom.
There was no sympathy for her for that. I'm not surprised, but stop being so weird. I can't. I literally cannot stop being weird.
Good casting too.
Yeah.
See her as kind of creepy looking and mousy wallflower, but also has such a special beauty to her.
Yeah, she definitely was de-glammed for a long time, and then when she goes to the prom, she truly does look effervescent, and her hair is so pretty.
She really started to blossom. She decided she's going to the prom, and she's telling her mom.
Yeah, when she no,
mom,
we're not
going to prom.
We're not going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, and it's go Carrie.
I'm going, Mama. Things are going to change around here.
I love how twice when she knocks her mom on the bed.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll be home later.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I guess that's when why her mom decided she had to kill her, because she's like, oh, she's getting some agency. We can't let this happen.
Yeah. The mom, did she just always have the knife in the, there, or did she just put it there? Because when she grabs the knife, it's like in like the floorboard. Was that always there?
I think she hid it there because she planned to murder Carrie that night. I think she'd set it all up while she was at the prom.
She had a lot of time. That was a lot.
She did. She lit all those candles. Yeah.
So many candles.
My mom had that many candles.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot. They weren't just like, oh, I went out and bought like a Costco. Just go to Costco and buy like
a picture of her buying.
It was like several different types of candles.
If she was anything like my mom, and I feel like she accumulated them over time, over many years. I'm at the grocery store again. I need more candles.
The mom is like, I'm married and I have a child, but that's a sin. But I can kill my child.
Right,
like actually
I'll
that
just
good
stab
reason.
her, right.
I'll just stab it.
What was the story she was telling Carrie about, like, what happened to her dad? And Carrie's like, no, Mama, he left
you for
another woman.
Yeah.
That's Satan's power. It has nothing to do with Satan, Mama. It's me. Me. If I concentrate hard enough, I can move things.
He undid your father and carried him off.
He ran away, Mama. The devil tempted him. He ran away with a woman, Mama. Everybody knows that.
She clearly had this alternate reality of everything that had happened and was really sticking to that lie.
And she had this idea of Carrie being evil, and then of course she had like confirmation bias. When Carrie has telekinesis, she's like, see, I knew you were evil this whole time. Piper Laurie, wow, she's just epic in this.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
I feel like all my favorite lines are Piper Laurie lines.
I mean, I can see your dirty pillows.
I can see your dirty pillows. Everyone will.
Breasts, Mama. They're called breasts. And every woman has them.
The end of her story where she's like, and I liked it.
I'll smell the whiskey on his breath. And he took me. The stink of the filthy roadhouse whiskey on his breath. And I liked it.
Yeah, that was a great, yeah.
When she's dying, she's basically having an orgasm.
She is so creepy.
So, yeah. Everyone in that movie is a crazy person.
I still can't get past the thing of how even once they were married, it was a let's sleep in separate beds and resist temptation. Why?
I know.
But also if she had just gotten over that, everything would have been so different.
Yeah, it would have been, yeah.
Just let herself enjoy boning her husband. For me, when John Travolta says keep your tits on.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I also wrote down you're crazier than a son of a bitch.
You're crazier than a son of a bitch, you know that?
What does that mean? You can say, you can choke on it for all I care to a student if you're a teacher.
Spit out that gum.
Where'll I put it, Miss Collins? You can choke on it for all I care. Just get it out of your mouth.
All my favorite lines were pretty much Piper Laurie lines. Like they're all gonna laugh at you. Just as she said it, it's like, they're all gonna laugh at you.
He's gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you.
Look, it's not too late.
And then it calls back later when she's at the prom when she's freaking out.
Trust me.
Is that over?
Before
really
like the movie started, the little like before you click start on like the DVD or whatever it was like kept playing that and you could not tell what it said.
Oh really?
Like a while. It's like what is she saying? Oh, that's what she's saying.
That's funny. I watched it on Netflix, so I didn't have the DVD menu.
Also, I like the exchange with her and Mrs. Snell, and she's like, "We live in godless times."
Yes.
Like, I'll drink to that.
Yes.
Read the room, Mrs. Snell.
Mrs. Snell.
Drinking, watching soap operas, watching her stories. Oh, Margaret White is here.
Those two women and what kind of days they have. Margaret White is just walking around proselytizing to her neighbors, and Mrs. Snell is just
day drinking.
Yep. That's life as a housewife. It checks out. Which one are you, Amy?
This is a tough one.
What else does a suicide need, huh? Now, if you'll excuse me.
It was a really cool parallel at the end when she like makes the car swerve. It looked a lot like in the beginning with the bicycle. I thought that was a really cool parallel.
Yeah, when she.
Oh yeah, nice.
The first parts with like when she like freaked out and got her period, and then she made the bicycle swerve looked a lot like when like the blood was poured on her, and then when she like killed the people in the car.
Good connection.
Now that I'm looking into it, the first part of the movie is just like the second part. Even when she goes back and the mom is being crazy, it looks like a lot of the scene is very similar to the very last scene.
Right. I also love how when the mom gets it in him and with all the guys and their heads.
Yeah, she's like Saint Sebastian. Jesus. Yeah, it's Saint Sebastian actually.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's not Jesus.
She looks like even the hair.
Yeah.
I thought it was it was the crucifixion kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
No, I looked it up. She does have a Jesus picture in her room that's very creepy though. We had that picture in my childhood home, and then I brought it with me to college, and then I had it in my house for a long time because it was just so disturbing. It's a thing. It's Saint Veronica's handkerchief. Which is supposedly the impression of Jesus' face when she wipes his face when he's on the cross. His perfect image appeared on her handkerchief, and it's also an optical illusion where his eyes look closed, but if you look at it long enough, you can see them open. Whoa. And that part really works. I don't know how optical illusions work. So yeah, I would have it. I always put it in the bathroom. I would put it like above the toilet, and then so like mostly men were like, "What the fuck is that thing in your bathroom?" Because they would always be looking at it while they were peeing. And she had that in her house. But then the statue in her closet is Saint Sebastian.
So
who was died? He died. He got arrowed to death.
Carrie's in her room and she's looking in the mirror and it's like hanging from the.
Yes, you can see exactly.
Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Really creepy.
It is very creepy.
That was a really good movie. Everyone in that movie was just so crazy. I can't name someone in that movie who wasn't at least a little crazy.
I mean, do you feel like Sue is crazy?
No, Sue.
She's pretty normal.
Sue seemed like pretty normal.
And Tommy too.
Yeah, Tommy was cool.
I mean, they're pretty nice, I guess, for popular kids, right? They're not.
I mean,
they go out on quite a limb to help Carrie.
I did feel weird with like how people would blame Tommy for everything. It's like Tommy like is doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want me to take? Okay, yes, I will take Carrie to
He's
prom.
just doing what he's told. Like, yeah.
That was another thing with the gym teacher. The scene where she sits Sue and Tommy down, and she's like, "What are you doing? Why are you going to take Carrie to the prom?"
Well, I thought that was not that weird because Carrie tells her, Tommy asked me to prom, and it's obviously a trick. I mean, I totally get that because I was bullied in school, and if any of the popular kids had said, I want to be your friend suddenly, I would have been like, ooh, what? No, you don't. What's the catch here? I thought that was very realistic, and then the teacher being like, yeah, why are you doing this? And then getting the story that they really are trying to help.
Tommy's like, because my girlfriend told me.
It's really Sue being like, you're doing this, and him being like, okay, sure. Oh, this is a funny little factoid that Betty Buckley said in interviews that she played Miss Collins as a lesbian.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Wait, which one's Miss Collins?
Oh, the gym.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if I don't particularly see it. Like, what does that mean? When does that come up?
She has a real lesbian look to her, kind of. I don't know why. I just Betty Buckley in general.
Maybe she's like, I play everybody as a lesbian. That's just.
That's my thing. I know. That makes me want to watch it just through that lens. Because what year is that movie?
1976.
What's the 1976 idea of a lesbian? Already, that's a lot to unpack.
From someone who isn't, I believe.
Right.
Isn't. Well, how does she think that informs this gym teacher character?
Maybe I just think that because she's a gym teacher. You know, like...
That is definitely quite the stereotype.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
The lunchtime poll question today is, what would you use your telekinesis for?
I would try and make a living out of it. I'm like, look, I can make stuff fly. How can I make this my job? Because I can make stuff move.
Mm-hmm. So you would try to figure out a way to monetize it.
Yeah.
Which as a performer or?
No. Maybe
Or what kind of company would be able to utilize this?
Eco-friendly delivery.
Yeah.
You know?
Either delivery or maybe as if look, I can make that thing move, and then everyone would think it's fake. It's but it's not fake. I don't know. Depends on how like intense the telekinesis is. Because like in some movies it's like, oh yeah, they can fly, and in some it's like, I made a light bulb explode.
She doesn't really get much of a chance to use it for useful things.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the power for very long before everything comes crashing down, but...
It would also be just very convenient. Like, oh, yeah, do something of it. Nope, now it's here.
To get out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd probably use it like for like some practical, I don't know, moving cars away to get through traffic or something. It causes me a lot of stress.
You can make your car fly over the traffic.
That
maybe.
would be even better, yeah.
Because it also depends, like, is this, like, easy for you? Or are you like, yep, now my house is floating? Or is it like, I made this cup lift?
That is a good question, like what the extent of her powers are, because she can make hoses float, but what's the limit?
It's crazy fit of anger.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like this house floats. It's like, now this house is floating.
That's true too,
It
yeah.
is associated like, with rage. You don't see her use it like calmly. It's like she's having a flare up.
Which that makes it
telekinesis is acting up.
Yeah.
It does make it less convenient because it feels like it only works when like you're just overcome with rage.
Mm-hmm.
If that were the case, you can't really control it.
But maybe she would have been able to learn to control it if she'd had time. If she'd been able to find some special school or something. It starts when she gets her period. Is that the idea?
Well,
the implication?
Well, wait, is the kid off the... Yeah.
That's after she got her period, yeah.
Oh, right.
That's a special cameo by Cameron De Palma, by the way. As a little kid. But the voice was Betty Buckley.
Yeah. When I think of using telekinesis is when I'm like in crosswalks and people don't look and flow through a crosswalk. That's why I like hear the sound effect, or like if you could just look at them, you're like,
cause a crash.
They kind of swerve, just something like, just not in like crash, but
something scary happens so that they remember it next time.
And that's definitely because I associate her powers with rage. That's when I have the most low-level rage in general is not paying attention to people in crosswalk.
I like that answer because when I was thinking about this, I wasn't thinking about it in terms of like I had to be triggered by rage. So I might have to think of something else. But
the way she uses it really does need to be triggered by rage.
Yeah,
the way she uses
it does seem to be. I was gonna say folding laundry, but but I'm not mad when I'm folding laundry. I'm just bored out of my gourd. So I probably wouldn't be able to make it work. My idea was I would just be sitting there reading while my laundry is being folded.
It's like, just only when you're really angry that it's like, you can't really use it very well.
Just have to be angry.
Right, yeah. This may be two category answer. Like my non-rage way would probably be like emptying the dishwasher.
Yeah. And also, how conscious is it? Like, could I just do my homework without looking at it? Or would I have to be like, okay, and then I move the pencil like that?
Mine would be, okay, so this doesn't make me like rage angry, but it makes me like annoyed enough that maybe if I could have time to hone my powers, I could, at concerts when tall people stand right in front of me.
What would you do?
Maybe I'd like make their knees buckle or something so they have to go sit down.
Oh, that's a good
Anyone tall.
Because, that does make me pretty annoyed. Like, I mean, I guess I definitely get a tinge of anger when a tall person scoots right in front of me at a concert. Yeah. That's very annoying.
Yeah.
Like, really, this is where you've chosen to stop. Do you have a rage answer?
Yeah, I was thinking, like, with lines or, like, something like, I really liked your crosswalk one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a rage answer. I need to think about it. It's definitely something traffic-oriented to get me out of
I think there was something I came up with, but I totally forgot what it was.
No.
See, well, I mean, I feel like your thing is like when you're upstairs going to bed and then it's, I left something downstairs.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah. But that would be your thing where you would make it come up the stairs.
Yeah, I would definitely do that.
Or could you make Bubba stay in your room?
Bubba would be so freaked out if like someone made him float. He's like,
that would be a heavy telekinesis if you could make Bubba float.
Yeah. Well, if you can knock Piper Laurie onto bed, you can probably make the cat float. I don't know. We'll just at least like keep him from getting up. Would Bubba then resent you?
I wouldn't like keep him from moving, but I might like, oh hey, Bubba, you're sitting on the floor of my room meowing very loudly. Here, I would either like, here, I'm moving you out of my room, or here, you are coming up here.
Well, I have a like a small dog, Lily, and she barks constantly anytime I take her in the car and she sees another dog. She like wants to have this conversation with the other dog. It's so annoying. So if I looked in the back seat with my look and like get her to stop barking, that would be key.
Yeah. You could, it would kind of be cheating, but you could be like in sports and be like, oh, yep, somehow the football always goes through there, yep.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, that would be cheating, but you could definitely use that, like, in sports or something.
Yeah. That's probably how it really would be used.
Yeah.
It's a thing that some people use. It would be monetized like crazy, or it would be big sport.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun imagining that. Because I feel like people do that, you know, when they're watching TV and someone's kicking a field goal, they're like, oh,
Sports would be insane if everyone had telekinesis.
I still do that when I go bowling. Like, I'll like hold the thing and I'll be like, this way, push it to the right. And it's gutter balls all the time, but...
So you don't have telekinesis.
Maybe it works, but it's not with your hand. Did you do it with the eyes?
You gotta do the eyes. You gotta make your eyes really wide.
How very.
That's an element of Stephen King's stories about supernatural kids in general, not in Carrie, but... You ever see Firestarter or what? I never read the book, but I watched the movie a lot. This little girl can start fires with her mind, and she gets, like, kidnapped by the government, basically. I think that's what would mostly happen. I'm assuming the house catches on fire because she knocks all the candles over. Right. But, yeah, I really don't understand how she started the fire in the gym.
Where is the fire coming from?
Just loose wires that were sparking, that were floating around. Like, did she tear apart some electrical work? And
It was probably something electrical, but...
Hoses, like, got...
Yeah.
Somehow in the lighting and maybe a spark.
She did hurt people with the hose. The fire hose has a lot of pressure behind it. Actually, she didn't, but like on the movie set, PJ Souls got injured when she got hit with the fire hose. Yeah, she had a neck injury. When her head lolls to the side in the movie, that's when she got injured.
Oh, wow.
That always makes me really sad when I hear about those things, because you're like, you're watching someone actually get hurt on a movie, and then the director's like, keep it in! I love it!
Oh my god.
It looks so real.
I feel like I could see in like an alternate reality someone like dying in the making of Carrie.
I mean, a neck injury is pretty serious.
Yeah. Especially with the scene where they like light the gym on fire.
Nowadays, when you have fire in a movie, you have all kinds of professionals, and there's all kinds of measures being taken to keep people safe, and there's insurance and everything. But yeah, I feel like in the 70s there was kind of a lawless time when people were just setting things on fire willy-nilly. It's probably amazing that more people didn't die on movie sets in the 70s.
I watched that video, that Kill Bill thing. That was terrifying. You think of like how many crazy stunts.
She was not supposed to be in that car.
Yeah, that was really messed
that was
up.
like Harvey Weinstein's attempt to murder Uma Thurman. That was messed up. That was supposed to be a stunt person.
Why did they put her in the car?
Harvey Weinstein was trying to murder Uma Thurman. I'm serious about that. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what was happening. Because he'd already propositioned her in a hotel room, and she'd had to fight him off and everything. He was mad at her.
That's just
I know. He's an evil, evil man, and I hope he goes to jail forever. Yeah. Ugh. Speaking of, realism, Betty Buckley apparently slapped Sissy Spacek 30 times.
Jesus!
30 times.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, it was supposed to be a stage slap, but Brian De Palma was looking for the right reaction. I know.
Oh my God.
I feel like there needs to be a list of all the times that directors have made people slap women in movies to get the right reaction. What are you looking for? What does the right reaction to getting slapped look like to you?
Since you're not
Why don't you let me slap you, and then you do the face, and then I can do it from there?
Not like it's like a big thing. It's like a casual thing. What's this right reaction you want?
I know. I really do feel like there's this whole sadistic side of, I mean, besides the obvious sadistic side of Hollywood, but what is it with people wanting women to be slapped for art? It's a whole affliction. It's so messed up. Woohoo! That's why we love the movies, guys.
I just thought of something, like, you know how in the end where the house, it's on fire, but it kind of like gets swallowed into the ground.
I think she like collapses.
Is that like
she collapses the house too, I think. Yeah.
Well, I wondered if that was like a biblical thing in some way, hell like swallowing up the earth or something. Like, okay, so in my hometown we have like this big sinkhole. It's called the Devil's Millhopper.
I do love your Florida stories.
And I was thinking, like, after I watched, I was just like, oh, maybe that's why they call it the Devil's Millhopper, because, like, the devil, like, swallowed the earth or something. I don't know.
I don't know what a millhopper is exactly. What is a millhopper?
It's like a farming thing, I think. Anyway,
that's awesome. The Devil's Millhopper.
Maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a good movie. There were, like, definitely a lot of, like, small flaws and inconsistencies. But that was a good movie, yeah. I like how, like, most of the movie is, like, not especially scary, and then the last part is, like, very scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes from nice and sweet to terrifying very quickly.
Most of it is not nice and sweet. Pretty much just when she gets home from the prom and takes a bath. And it has that nice, sweet music. They're lulling you into a false sense of security.
And I was like, when is the mom gonna come in and, like, kill her?
I mean, I think most of the horror is the way people treat her.
Yeah.
That's the true horror of the movie. It's like an anti-bully story.
I was very convinced that, like, in the scene where the mom was, like, hugging her, I'm like, Mom's gonna kill her. Mom's gonna, like, snap her neck or something.
Oh,
she's hugging her. That was, like, what I was convinced.
We're pretty close.
Yeah, and then she stabs her. I know. Oh, that poor girl. She just wanted a mom to love her.
Heartbreaking. Yeah. I feel like we kind of talked.
I think we covered it out. Yeah, I think we covered it. On the next episode of Paid and Puke, call the corners, bitch! We're back in 1996 to discuss Andrew Fleming's singular work, The Craft. Paid and Puke is hosted by Amy Green, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. Music by Silent Partner. Follow us on Twitter at Paid and Puke Pod, or join us on Facebook at Paid and Puke Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it